Hey, hi, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the tutorialh.com, and today we're gonna take care of one more request which I haven't received directly but actually was a question on Stack Overflow. Like, is there any tutorial or any way to set up a rating system in Ajax, jQuery, mysql, and PHP? So I believe, guys, there would be a ton of tutorials showing that, but the thing is that particular guy want, if is there any way a user can rate in points, like a user can give the rating 2.2 or 2.4, something like that. So I thought giving myself a try, and that way everyone can learn from it. So guys, very first what we're gonna do is we're gonna download a jQuery plugin which gonna take care of at least 50% of our work. So what you guys need to do is go on Google, search for a plugin called JRating, okay, and I believe you're gonna be redirected to this particular website. You can download a copy of it, you can check out the demonstration if you want, and you can read the documentation which is actually on the official website. But I'm not gonna do all that right now. What I'm gonna do is I'll already have my copy on my desktop. I'm gonna take it away from here, and I'm gonna create a new folder inside my local servers directory. Let's name it to call ratings, okay, and I'm gonna paste that particular zip file, and guys, I'm gonna unzip everything out here, okay. Now it's gonna create a subfolder out here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna say localhost. It's actually the way to access the web server, and here I'm gonna say ratings, and guys, I'm gonna open the index.php file which is provided by this particular plugin itself. Now guys, this is actually a file which gonna show you how you can set up almost any kind of rating system using jQuery, okay. Now guys, the next thing is we need to test this plugin. Actually, is it something that we require or not? So go ahead, and very first we need to write what are our requirements. So I'm gonna open the notepad right now, okay. Here I'm gonna say we need a way to rate something in points. So I'm gonna say float ratings, okay. So this is our very first requirement. The second one would be we need a way to find out on which particular item the user is rating. Let's say you have 100 books on your website and you want your audience to rate it. So obviously you need a way a user is rating which particular book right now. So I'm gonna say tracking the item. And the next thing would be we need a way, will this plugin let us disable any rating at any point of time, because we don't want a single user to keep on rating one single book again and again. If the user has done it for one time, they won't be able to do it again and again. Though we're gonna write that particular logic in PHP, but still we need a way from this plugin so that it can disable the rating from its end. So here I'm gonna say disable rating, and the very last would be the Ajax submission. So let's see whether this plugin gonna take care of all these stuff or not. So I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna check out the very first I would say example where it does not show anything in points. But if I'll go to the next one, guys, you will notice there are points coming out here. If you will notice here, it says 10.2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So it means it actually gonna take care of the points out here. The next thing that I was talking about was tracking the item, not time, actually tracking the item. So guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rate this particular one, and guys, you will notice here ID to update 1, rate received 15, and that was a success. So it means there is some way to track the ID. So let's say I'm gonna click on the second one. Here it says ID to update 2. So this means from this plugin only we would be able to track which particular item was clicked. So our second task is also done. The next one is disable the rating. So let's check out. Okay, here is a demo where it says rate is disabled. So if you guys will notice, I don't have any option to do anything out here. So it's gonna take care of our very third thing as well. And the very last one is Ajax submission. And guys, I'm 100% sure they're taking care of it. That's the only reason we are getting this particular response where it says server response. And if you have Firebug with you, you can hit F12 right now go to console, and guys, you're gonna notice it is actually submitting to a PHP file, which is JRating.php. So at last, this plugin is actually a perfect solution that we need. So what I'm gonna do is I don't need their index.php file, so I'm gonna delete it. I don't want their PHP stuff, so I'm gonna delete that either, and I'm gonna take their jQuery folder out of this JRating folder. I'm gonna paste it to my root, and I'm gonna delete this either. So all I have right now is a jQuery, like the reference of jQuery and their plugin and their CSS file and a couple of icons out here. So what I'm gonna do, let's create a new file, name it to index.php. Okay, open it like this. Here I'm gonna say HTML, like the very default HTML markup that we require. Next we're gonna give a reference to the jQuery library. So for that, here I'm gonna say source jQuery.css. so here I'm gonna say jQuery / jQuery.js, again script tags and a reference to the actual plugin file. So here I'm gonna say jQuery folder and JRating.jQuery.js file. Okay, so that's all we need in the head section. And one more thing, actually we need to require the CSS file as well. So here I'm going to say jQuery / jQuery JRating.jQuery. So probably copy the name and paste it here. And guys, I'm going to create one more style sheet that actually going to be our style sheet. So I'm going to name it to style.css. Okay, and let's create this file either right now. So here I'm going to say style.css. Now guys, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually check out how this plugin is behaving right now before we're gonna go ahead and create any database or we write any PHP logics. First we need to check out how plugin is behaving. So what I'm gonna do is here I'm gonna say dev class rating. Okay, and of the dev here that I'll every time do. I believe that's all we need from a dev. Out here on the top we need to call this particular plugin, so I'm gonna remove it. Here I'm gonna say the DOM ready function. Okay, and guys, go back here and I'm gonna copy it. So I'm gonna copy it, paste it here. Instead of basic, I'm gonna say rating. Next thing is, guys, in order to I would say get the decimal things, we will have to pass in one more parameter here. They're gonna be decimal length. So here I'm going to start the curly braces. Here I'm going to say decimal length to 1. And guys, if you will notice, what the people have is every time I'm going to hover over actually this one is disabled for now. Every time I'm going to hover over anything, it's actually increasing the values by 4. So for that, what I'm going to do is very first I'm going to say, actually I need to open their plugin file, and here it says rate max. I'm gonna copy it and I'm gonna say rate max to 5. Okay, instead of 20 I'm gonna say 5. So I believe that's all we need. Come back and refresh the page. Here we have, and guys, if you will notice, the moment I'm gonna hover over it, it says 0.3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 1. So in the same way, now we are getting the rating in decimal points, and it's only incrementing 1 at 1 star. Okay, so it's actually gonna take care of it. Now guys, let's hit it and open the console. Here it says php JRating.php not found, obviously because we have deleted the folder, but we are not concerned about it. If I'm gonna open it, I'm gonna check out the post tab. Here it says the action was rating, my rate was 3.7, and here it says the ID is equals to nav. Now what is that? Because it is not able to track on which particular item I'm clicking right now. And guys, there is something really handy about this plugin is, all I need to do is, if I'm gonna say here ID, okay, and here I can give how many stars I want to show by default. So let's say I want to show 4 stars by default, and on which particular item I'm going to do it. So I'm going to say I'm doing it on item 1. That's all. So I have to say the stars and underscore sign and on which particular item. So I'm going to say 1 here. Come back, refresh, and guys, you will notice by default I have 4 stars. If I'm going to make it 2, it's gonna show me 2 stars by default. And if I'm gonna say 4.5 here, again open the same thing, and guys, here it says ID box to 1, and if I'm gonna change it to 4 here, refresh the page, again submit it, and guys, you will notice it says ID box to 4. So that means we can easily track how many ratings have been given and on which particular item it was given. So guys, that's all with the testing of this particular plugin. Now next thing we need to do is we need to set up a database. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say localhost. Probably I have PHP admin here, so I'm going to open it, and here I'm going to create a new database. I'm going to say Ajax rating. Okay, I'm going to create it. I'm going to go to the database, and I'm going to create a table called items. Let's say we want to create 8 number of columns. So that's done now. Here I'm going to say ID, then I'm going to say title. Let's say our item do have a description here. Okay, then I'm going to say the item image, and we can have rating, like what is the current rating for this particular item. Then I'm going to say total rating, like how many points have been given till now. Then I'm going to say, so they're going to be total, let's say rates, like how many people have rated it till now. So let's say if 2 people have rated it, this particular column gonna have 2 here, okay? And if both of them give 5 and 5, this particular gonna have 10, like 5 and 5, like we're gonna add them, and this particular gonna have 5. Okay, so don't worry guys if it's not making sense right now. The later once we're gonna write the PHP code, it will start making sense. Here I'm gonna say IP addresses. That's really important, because we're gonna track the user IP address, and only on the basis of that we're gonna find out if the user have read this particular item or not. So I believe that's all we need here. I'm gonna say the IP address one gonna be a long text. Might be you have thousands of people who are rating every single day, so it needs to be really long, because we're gonna track each and every single IP address. Here I'm gonna say total rates gonna be an integer, let's say 11. Total rating, again an integer 11, and rating to 11. Or probably guys, for rating I'm gonna say float, and for total rating also I'm gonna say float. Okay, so for an image, let's say varchar here, give it 150. Description, let's say text. Title, let's say varchar 150, and we're gonna make our ID a primary key and auto increment 1. So that's primary. Come back to the bottom, drag it to the left, and save the table. So guys, it's done now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right now probably go to items, and here I'm gonna insert a couple of items in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my website, or I'm gonna say the.h.com, the.h.com. okay, so once the site gonna be up, I'm gonna grab a couple of posts from there, and I'm actually gonna enter their stuff to this particular table. So do it fast, baby. Okay guys, so my site is actually up right now, because sometimes my internet sucks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this particular title from here, I'm gonna paste it here, then I'm gonna take description from here, I'm gonna paste this here, I'm gonna grab the image URL. So here it is, copy image location. I'm gonna paste that here. For the rating, I'm gonna say 0, 0, total rate to 0, and we don't have any IP addresses as well. So the very next one, I'm gonna take it from the next post, where it says practical guide to your first WordPress plugin. It's actually a very nice tutorial that I'm writing, and if you guys are actually interested about WordPress, then you can read it. Next thing, I'm gonna copy this, and here I'm gonna paste it. I have actually left start as there. So then I'm gonna copy the image location for this one either, so paste it here. For the ratings is 0 0, total rates to 0, we don't have any IP addresses, and I'm gonna hit save, close my website, and check out whether we have 2 items or not. Okay, so finally we have. Now guys, next thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna build out a very simple class. And guys, if you haven't wrote any classes or functions in PHP, do not worry. I'm gonna explain each and every single thing to you right now. So for that, what I'm gonna do is here I'm gonna create a folder called classes, okay, or probably, you know, do not name it to classes, name it to libs. Okay, here I'm gonna create a new file. I'm gonna name it to class dot manage ratings, okay, dot php. So open it. Here I'm gonna say PHP. Here I'm gonna say class manage hits. Now guys, you would be thinking why I'm creating a class, though we can easily write procedural coding and we can take care of it. Now guys, I do understand it's actually not a big task, but again, you know, it's good to write classes and functions and, you know, get into good habit while creating applications or any kind of script. So next thing, I'm going to create a protected variable called $length. Okay, then I'm going to create a protected variable called $dbhost. Like in order to, you know, make the connection, we do need our host, username, password, and database name. So I'm going to create a variable for each of them. So here I'm going to say $db name protected $db user protected $db password. Okay, so that's done. Here I'm going to say function construct. Like a construct function is something they're gonna run every time, no matter whether we call this function or not. And if you haven't wrote any functions in your entire life, then let me tell you guys, we create functions like, you know, for one time, and in order to, you know, run that particular code, we will have to call the function. Like you know, if you guys gonna say echo hello world, so the moment you're gonna refresh the page, you're gonna see hello world there. But that's not the case with functions. If it's a function, you will have to call this function in order to see this particular hello world. So probably, you know, let me give you an example very first, so it's gonna, you know, help some beginners as well. So I'm gonna, you know, comment everything out here, and I'm gonna comment everything here. So very first, I'm gonna say hello world. So let's go back to the browser. We created a folder called libs. There was a class, and guys, you will see you know, phrase called hello world. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap this particular hello world inside a function called hello. Okay, and guys, now come back, you will not see that particular hello world. Now why? Because we already have hello world here, and what's the reason we are not able to see it? The reason is that we haven't called this particular function. So we will have to call this function, and if I will say here hello, I'll go back, it says the phrase hello world. So guys, if you are building functions and methods, though they are the same thing, you need to call them in order to execute the code inside it. But with the construct function, you don't have to call it. It will run every time you're gonna run your file, or probably you're gonna initiate this particular class. So next thing I'm gonna do is here I'm gonna, you know, build a connection with database. So I'm gonna run a try and a cat statement. So what try and cat statement actually does is very first it's gonna execute the code under the try thing, okay, like the try curly braces, and if it's not able to do there, it's gonna go ahead and it's gonna, you know, run everything inside catch. Okay, so here I'm gonna say try $this link. Now again, this is a very big question while working with classes and functions. What is $this? Guys, anytime you create a variable inside a function, like if I'm gonna say $name as equals to John, okay, and if I want to echo this particular name, I can easily say echo $name, okay, and it's gonna actually print out the phrase called John. But let's say I don't have this variable inside this function and it's lying out here. So in that case, I have to say echo $this John, because this particular variable called name is not a child of this function. It is actually a child of this class, and in order to access any child inside a class, you need to use $this. Once you're gonna do this, you can access any variables which are lying out here on the top. So I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna remove John either because we don't need him. Here I'm gonna say a new instance of a PDO class. Now guys, one more thing, PDO is a very nice and a secure way to make connections with MySQL. And if you are building any kind of a live application, I will always suggest you to work with PDO instead of working with that default MySQL Connect and other stuff. So here I'm gonna say a new PDO. I'm gonna say MySQL host. Okay, so for that it's gonna be $this db host, and if you will remember that particular John example, that shows that we need to access all the variables out here on the top with $this. Next thing I'm gonna say db name, they're gonna be equals to $this db name, and here I'm gonna say $this db user, and finally $this db password. So in just one line it's gonna build a connection and it's gonna select the database for us, and if it's not able to do it, then we're gonna run the cat statement. But before that, we're gonna return $this link. Now guys, what is this particular return? The way I showed you the above, like the earlier function which says hello world, there I actually echo the phrase called hello world, but it's actually not a good practice to echo anything from a function. We always return something from a function, we never echo it out. So if you want an example again, let me show it to you, though it's gonna make the video a bit lengthy, but it's fine. The more important thing is that you do understand everything. So here I'm gonna say the function called hello. Okay, and here I'm gonna say return hello world. Okay, so return hello world. Come back, refresh this file page, there is nothing. Now I'm gonna run this particular function called hello, there is nothing. But if I'm gonna say echo hello, it's gonna show hello world. So guys, every time we return something from a function, we don't echo. That's not a good practice. So I'm gonna remove it, and I'm gonna come back to the actual thing that we are doing right now. And if we are not able to build a connection, we're gonna run a PDO exception. So I'm gonna say PDO exception $e. Here I'm gonna say return $this, probably $e get message. Get message, and it's gonna let us know about the message, like the problem we have while building the connection. So come back here guys, I'm gonna build the next function. They're gonna get items from the database. Okay, and I'm gonna create one more method. They're gonna insert ratings to the database. Okay, so let's create the insert ratings one very first. In order to insert anything to the database, we need the ID, like on which particular item we have rated. Next thing we need, it's rating. We need total rating. Okay, we need total rates. I believe that was our, yep, we need total rates, like how many people have actually rated this particular item, total rates. And we need the IP address. Okay, so I believe that's all we need. So now guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna run an update query every time we're gonna run this function. Here I'm gonna say $query, like I'm creating a very simple variable, and I'm gonna say $this link. $this link is a variable which contains the connection inside it. And here I'm gonna say query. That's right. I'm gonna say update the table name, that's actually items. Next thing gonna be set rating equals to $rating. Okay, next thing gonna be total rating, gonna be equals to $total rating. Total rates gonna be equals to $total rates. Okay, and I'm gonna say IP address gonna be equals to connect and I'm gonna do it now. Guys, so what is this particular phrase called connect? Though like every time I'm saying total rates, like I'm using an equals to sign, but what's the difference with IP address? Guys, we're gonna track each and every single IP address. So if you're gonna update this particular field, it's gonna lose the last IP address that we stored. So we're not gonna update it, or probably I'm gonna say we're not gonna remove the last value, and we're not going to insert the new one. Probably we're going to append a new item every time, or append a new IP address every time. So I'm going to say IP address, they're going to be dollar IP address, and here are going to be IP address, and I believe this one needs to be on the front, otherwise it's going to prepend it. It's like this. So what this gonna do is it's gonna make this particular field called IP address equals to its current value, that's IP address, and the new value with a comma, and here I'm gonna say a comma. So finally I'm gonna say where ID is equals to $ID. Guys, it's very simple in a basic update command. They're gonna update everything where ID is equals to this particular variable. Okay. Then I'm gonna say $row count, again one more variable, is equals to $query row count. And finally I'm gonna say return $row count. And guys, if this particular variable has a value of 1, that means we are able to update this particular item which has an ID of 1, 2, or anything. And if it has a value of 0, that means there was some error while updating our database. So next thing gonna be get items. Now here I'm gonna say a variable called param, or yeah, I believe that's fine. Or I can keep it simple by saying ID here. Next thing I'm gonna make a check if is set $ID, and I'm gonna keep it equals to null. Now what this particular thing means is every time we're gonna run a function called get items, we're gonna pass in a parameter, but it's okay if we are not doing it. Okay, it's not mandatory to do it. While running this particular method called insert ratings, we need to pass these 5 parameters. If we are not gonna pass that, we're gonna end up with some errors. But with this particular function, it's fine. If you want, we can do. If we don't, we cannot. Like, we can leave it. So I'm gonna say if there is a variable called ID, then do something, and if there is not a variable called $ID, then do something else. Now if there is, what we're gonna do, we're gonna say $this query, $this link query, I'm gonna say select all from that was items where ID is equals to $ID. Okay, and here I'm gonna say like the same thing without the where clause actually. So I'm gonna remove it. And guys, next thing, very first we need to check out how many rows that have been returned from this query. So I'm gonna say $query row count. Okay, and then I'm gonna say if row count is greater than or equals to 1, that means if we do have anything inside database, then do something else. Okay, then I'm gonna say $result gonna be equals to $query fetch all, like get everything from the database so that we can do whatever we want. And if there is nothing, obviously you cannot get anything, but let us know that there are 0 values. So I'm gonna say result equals to 0. Finally I'm gonna say return $result. Okay, so I believe that's all from this particular class, but very big mistake I did is I haven't gave them the values. So I have to say localhost db name is equals to Ajax rating or ratings. It's rating without a s. Here the db user gonna be root. I don't have a password for my local server. So I believe that's all from this particular class. Now guys, we have wrote them once, we don't have to touch them anytime. Now we're gonna do some maths in order to find out what gonna be the current rating for an item, and we're gonna do a lot of stuff, but at least we're not gonna make this file dirty now anymore, and it's gonna take care of database interaction in a very neat and a clean way. Okay, so what next we're gonna do, inside this particular folder I'm gonna create one more file. I'm gonna say get items, like we want to get all the items we have inside our database so that we will let our audience rate on them. Here Very first, I'm gonna include the class file. I'm gonna say include manage ratings.php. Now guys, in order to run anything from a class, we need to initiate a class. So how to do that? I'm gonna say a variable called init. Okay, you can name it to anything. A new instance, just paste the class name there. And if you wanna get any, like if you want to access any method inside it, all you need to do is $init and the method name. So our method gonna be get items, and as we want to get all the items, we're not gonna pass in any ID there. That's all. Now guys, we're gonna get some result while we're gonna run this function. So we're gonna store that particular result inside a variable called all items. Okay, all items here, like this. That's all from this particular file as well. And guys, you can see how easy it is. All we need to do is call the function and we are done. Now we're gonna go to index.php. Here we're gonna include libs/get items so that we can actually print everything to this particular file. So finally I'm gonna close it, come back, refresh. This is what we have, but I'm gonna remove it right now. And I'm actually gonna comment everything out, otherwise you're gonna get some errors in the console, and I hate errors. So I'm gonna comment this particular thing out. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a couple of divs to make sure that everything is nested properly. I'm gonna say div id wrapper. Okay, like we're gonna wrap everything inside it. So here I'm gonna say and wrapper, and here we're gonna be div with a class called items. Here I'm gonna say h2 rate articles, or probably articles rating, articles rating. That seems to be fine. Here I can say an h4 inside every item. They're gonna be the actual title. So let's say WordPress plugins guide. Okay, then we're gonna have an image, so probably I'm gonna copy the image path from here. Just give me a second. So I'm gonna copy it like this. And guys, we're gonna keep the image with a width, probably I'm gonna say style. I'm gonna say every width needs to be 300 pixels wide and 150 pixels tall. So they're gonna be height and width actually. 150 here, but it needs to be inside this particular style tag, like this, So here it says the width gonna be 300 and the height gonna be 150 pixels. Very simple. And a p tag. So I'm gonna grab that either from here and paste that here. So come back, refresh this page. This is actually, it's looking right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open our style sheet. Okay, and let's write a couple of styles here. So very first I'm gonna say font family, it's done for me, and then I'm gonna say the background, and I'm gonna give it a color to F2. That's a very lighter gray. Here I'm gonna say color to the hex value 505050. That's again to a lighter black. What else we need? Font size here to 13 pixels. Okay, then I'm gonna say all should have a margin to 0 and padding to 0. Now guys, let me tell you one more thing. Every browser have some default margin and padding. So if you're gonna create a site, there are chances it's gonna look different in every browser if you're not gonna do all have a margin 0 and padding 0. So this particular thing gonna make sure every time your page is rendering, it gonna delete all the margin and paddings which is given by the browser. So then you can actually write your own margin and padding to fix everything. Next thing I'm going to say is I'm going to say ID wrapper. It should have a width to, let's say 600 or probably 700. That's fine. And here I'm going to say margin to auto, so it's going to center everything to the page. Then I'm going to say class items should have a padding to 20 pixels. They should have a background to white color. And I believe that's all we need to see a nice looking page. Yup, we do. It's actually items, not item. That's my bad. Okay, I believe that is all. Next thing I'm gonna say is class items h4 is believe that would be created. That's right, we created h4. I'm gonna say padding bottom to 20 pixels, so it's gonna take some margin from here. Plus I'm gonna say class items image, it's gonna take some padding again, and I'm gonna say for the paragraph as well, so padding 20. So it's looking fine now. And here guys, I can probably say here actually I can say width to 300 pixels and they should float towards left. Okay, so like this. So I believe that's fine, and we can also take care of our main heading. So here I'm gonna say wrapper h2 should have a padding bottom to 40 pixels, and let's say text align to center, text align to center, and give it some padding top either. So padding top 40 pixels. Come back, and guys, we are done. So now we can see an item here with some text out there. You can read it and you can rate it. So let's create our rating stars either. So here I'm gonna say dev class rating. Okay, come back, and actually take this away from here. Come back, refresh. Oh, it's there on to the right hand side. I know why, because it needs to be inside this particular div, not outside it. Okie dokie guys, now we can see a nice looking rating system here. There is a nice image, title, and the text, everything you need to rate my articles and rate them good. Okay, next thing. Now guys, this is something static. The reason I created it because we can style it without adding PHP to it. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start writing our PHP from here. So I'm gonna say PHP if dollar, what was the variable we created, all items is not equals to 0. That means it does have something inside it. For each, like because guys, this particular thing called fetch all return everything in an array, so we're gonna break that array using for each. Okay, so I'm gonna say for each all items as dollar value. You can name this particular variable to anything you want. Here I'm gonna end it, and I'm gonna close the PHP here. So the very first PHP block, I'm gonna say if this variable does have something inside it, go ahead and run a for each statement to break it. And here I'm gonna say end the for each, like out here with the starting curly brace, we are starting the for each. Here we are ending the for each, and then we are ending the if statement out here. Now inside it I'm gonna say PHP echo dollar value, like this particular variable. If you have named it to XYZ, you need to say XYZ here, and title. Okay, and in the same way I'm gonna copy this dude from here, and I'm gonna paste it here. Instead of title, I'm gonna say image, and here instead of some stuff, I'm gonna say description. So here say description. Now guys, what about this particular rating thing? Now we're gonna take care of it either. So I'm gonna say ID very first. What is the current rating for it? If you will go back to the database, we have stored it inside field name called rating. That's what I'm gonna say here. I'm gonna say rating here, and what is the ID? So underscore sign, and here I'm gonna say ID. That's all we need. So actually save it out here first, come back, refresh, and guys, you will notice that we have two of them, but they don't have any margin between them. So here I'm gonna say margin right to 20 pixels. 20 pixels. Okay, we're gonna increase this to 800 now. No, it's fine. Okay, so we have one item, we have two items, and they both are dynamic. You can add 1000 items to your table, and you're gonna get a rating system for all of them. Now guys, if you will notice, I'm gonna open the console right now. And guys, also one more thing, if you will notice, they both don't have any rating with them, because we have rating 0 for them inside our database. So let's say give one of them a rating to 2. Refresh, you will notice it have 2 right now. So we are actually able to control everything from the database now. So I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna switch it back to 0. It's done now. Now guys, every time I'm gonna click on it, you will notice it's actually listening to a file which is called php jrating.php. What we like, actually we don't have this file with us. So what I'm gonna do for that is open our file called index.php, okay, and their plugin file called jrating.jquery.js. And guys, you will notice here he have actually declared the PHP path to php jrating.php. So I'm gonna copy it and I'm gonna override it with my own path here. So here a comma, and here I'm gonna say libs/rating.php. So come back, refresh, and rate any one of them. Here now it says rating.php. So now we can go to libs, we can create one more file, name it to rating.php here. Okay, here I'm gonna say start the PHP block. Then I'm gonna say if $post, like if there is a post request, then only run this code, otherwise don't do it anything. Now if you will go to the post section once again, and like if you have the Firebug, and if you don't have, I always suggest you to have Firebug with you, otherwise you're gonna get heck out of yourself. Here it says action is equals to rating, then here it says ID box is equals to 1. So here I'm gonna say $post ID box, and I'm gonna create a variable called ID, okay. And one more thing, here it says rate to 3.8, so I'm gonna say $rate, $rate. Here I'm gonna say $post rate here. That's all, okay. So this way we are actually able to get everything from this particular file, and we will be able to post it to rating.php. Guys, next thing what we need to do is, very first we need to track the user IP address. We need to find how many ratings are already there in the database, how many people have already rated, and after collecting all that data, we need to follow actually we need to do maths, and then we have to insert some new values to the database. So let's do it one by one, and actually we don't want to make it what I would say, like I don't want to create mess out of anything. So what I'm gonna do is, very first we're gonna track the IP address. So I'm gonna say $IP address is equals to one thing. I'm gonna go to my site once again. Here is the one, and guys, out here I've created a very nice snippet that actually gonna let you track the IP address of the user, no matter whether they are behind a proxy or what. So here is that function. So I'm gonna copy it, and out here I'm gonna paste it, okay. Or like if you want, you can create a new file like this ip.php, and you can paste it there. So anytime you want to access it, all you need to do is call this particular file, so like this, okay. So here I'm gonna paste it like this, and guys, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say include once ip.php, that's all. And then I'm gonna say IP address gonna be that particular function name. So now we got the IP address. Next thing what we need to do is we need to get the existing data for this particular ID. So what should we do? Very first we should include the file that's actually our class file, manage ratings.php, and we're gonna call the function called get items. So here I'm gonna say $existing data gonna be equals to $init get items, and for the ID I'm gonna pass in this particular variable, okay. And guys, also we need to create an instance of the on the top for this particular class. So I'm gonna say init manage ratings, that's our actual class name. So that's done. Here it says existing data. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a for each loop. I'm gonna say for each $existing data as $data. Okay, again, you are free to name this particular variable data something else if you want. Then I'm gonna say old rating, okay, gonna be equals to, or probably, you know what, I have to say old total rating, okay, $data, and the field name, close it, total rating. So very first we're gonna find out how many total ratings are there. Okay, next thing we're gonna find out how many people have already rated on it. So I'm gonna say $total rates, gonna be $data total rates. Okay, now we need to find out the new rating. So for that, what I have to do is I'm gonna say $current rating gonna be equals to $old total rating. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example, don't worry, I know it's, you know, bit confusing. And here I'm gonna say $total rate. Okay, so what I'm doing is, let's say 3 people actually rated on an article and they gave 3, 3 and 3 again. No, let's say 4, 4, 3. So that's gonna be 4, 4, 8 and plus 3, 11. So this particular variable gonna be equals to 11. Okay, now let's say new guy came and he gave 1. So what we are doing is we're gonna make this particular variable equals to 11, like the one by 3 guys plus the current one that's actually 1. Okay, so current rating gonna be equals to 12. Okay, next thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna divide it with the total number of people who actually, you know, rated on it. So I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna say new total rate is total rates gonna be total rates plus 1. So earlier there were 3 people who actually rated on it. Now as we got a new rating, we're gonna say 3 plus 1, 4. So what we have now is total 12 rates by 4 people. So on an average we have 3. That's all we need to do. We need to divide these two variables. I'm gonna say new rating, they're gonna be equals to $current rating divided by new total rates. And I believe that is all we need. Okay guys, now we can easily go ahead and we can run the function called insert rating. So I'm gonna copy everything, close this file, come back here, I'm gonna say $init like this. For ID we have it. For rating, I'm gonna say new rating, total rating gonna be current rating, total rates gonna be new total rates, and IP address gonna be the IP address we actually capturing with this particular function. Now whatever result we're gonna get from here, we're gonna store it inside a variable. So let's say $insert is a variable. Okay, then I'm gonna say if $insert echoes success, like this. Else I'm gonna say echo error. That's it. So guys, I believe that's all I need. Come back, refresh the page, and guys, you will notice we don't have any ratings on both of these items. So let's give this one to the rating of 4. 4 is done. Okay, come back, check out the console. Here it says there is an error. Wow. Here it says class manage ratings not found. Why is that? Here it says include once class dot manage ratings dot php. Okay, then here it says manage ratings, open this particular class. Oh, here it says manage hits. That's something bad. I'm gonna say manage ratings here and manage ratings here either. Okay guys, that's my bad actually. I believe everything else is fine. So come back, refresh, and let's try it one more time. I'm gonna say 4 once again. Again, I'm gonna increase the height for this particular console. Again an error. Wow. It says call to a member function row count on a non-object on line number 42. So I have to open this particular class to check out where our problem is, it is on this particular. So that means we have some problem in this in our update query. Let's check out what's the problem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break it out. I'm going to say set rating equals to rating, total rating equals to total rating, total rates equals to total rate, IP address equal to connect. Oh, you know what? I have actually started a bracket here, and actually I've never ended it out here. So that's again my bad. Okay, 2 errors for me today. I'm gonna refresh, and let's say 3 this time. Actually 4 is not doing for anything for us. Let's say 3. Oh my gosh, again an error. Same thing. Call to a member function row count. What's your problem, dude? Is this connect IP address to $IP address where ID equals to $ID. Oh my gosh, you know what? I have to actually end it here, and I accidentally end that particular bracket there, and it's still lying there, so I have to remove it. My gosh. Hope so. No more errors now. 3.9 this time. What I've gave again a member row count function. What the heck you want out of me? Let me check it out from top to bottom. Update items. Set rating equals to rating is what I have here. Rating. Total rating equals to total rating. Total rates equals to total rates. IP address equals to connect IP address. This where ID is equals to $ID. Okay, one more problem I found. It's concat here. Refresh this particular stuff. Give 4 one more time. Hopefully we have success now. My gosh. Okay, here it says success. So let's refresh the page, and guys, this is our very first rating, that is 4, which is given by one user. Now guys, if you will notice, I'm actually able to rate this particular item again, but that's not true. I should not be able to do it. And if I'll go back here to items, and guys, here it shows rating. The current rating is 4. The total rating till now is given 4. The total number of people who actually rated it is 1, and that IP address is 127.0.0.1. Though like I'm not actually running it on internet, it's gonna pick up my local IP. That's gonna be 127.0.0.1. So if I'm gonna update it again, it's gonna take that rating, but that's actually not right, because I can only rate one item for one time. So what to do about it? It's quite easy, guys. What I'm gonna do is every time we are printing an item, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna say $all IP addresses, okay, gonna be equals to explode. Now what explode do it? It's gonna take a delimiter, and after using that, it's gonna break any string. So here I'm gonna say $value, and here that was IP address. So IP address. So what we're gonna do is we are actually storing all of our IP addresses with a comma. So it's gonna break all of them, and it's gonna add them to an array. Okay. So next, what I'm gonna do is out here on the top, we need to include the file called libs/ip.php. Okay. This is gonna be the user current IP address. So I'm gonna say current IP address gonna be equals to this particular function, get user IP. Okay, so this is the user current IP address. This is an array which contain all the IP addresses who have actually rated on this particular item till now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a very simple if statement. I'm gonna say if an array, okay, if this particular IP address, like the current user IP address, is inside the array where we have all of our IP addresses, okay, then I'm gonna create a variable called $class gonna be equals to JRating disabled. Okay, I'm gonna create a class, else my class gonna be equals to null. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is here I'm gonna say PHP echo $class. So come back, and refresh, and still I'm able to do it. I believe I have actually used the wrong spelling for that particular class, so I'm going to open this particular plugin file, and okay, here it says J disabled, actually not JRating disabled, that's J disabled. So that one I'm gonna say here, come back, refresh, and guys, you will notice I'm not able to rate this particular item because my IP address is already existing in this particular database, but if I will rate the second one, I would be able to do it. So I'm gonna say 4.9. Refresh again. Here it says the current rate is 4.9, but I'm not able to do it anymore. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this particular thing away. The reason I'm doing that, so that at least I can check out whether it's doing the maths properly or not. So last time I gave 4, this time let's give 3. I'm sorry, 2, so it needs to be on 3 now. Yep, it's on 3 right now. So what's actually it's doing, 1 gave 4, 1 gave 2, so that means total 6 ratings by 2 people. That's gonna get an average of 3. So here it says 3. And I believe, guys, that's all from this particular tutorial. And actually, if you liked it, guys, go ahead and follow us on Twitter or like us on Facebook. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Goodbye.